You have received so many betrayals, now at least learn to be alone. But the interesting thing is that even after experiencing so much sorrow, humans still make new friends and establish new relationships with people every day, knowing what happened to the previous relationship. Somewhere deep down, our mind still doesn't fully understand what it means to be alone and how to learn to be alone. Due to the advancement of science, we have obtained various comforts and conveniences, but on the other hand, if we open our eyes and see, science has taken away our solitude. It has created so much entertainment that humans have forgotten how to spend time with themselves. Whenever they have some free time, they start using their mobile phones, engrossed in conversations with others, and because of this, they have forgotten the art of being with themselves. Learn to enjoy your own company, the joy of solitude. Understand the continuous benefits of being with yourself. Today, I'm going to tell you a Buddhist story in which you will not only learn how to be happy alone but also discover the various outcomes of being alone. Before you get lost in this story, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Now let's begin the story. Sitaram was a very sensitive person with a compassionate heart. He lacked nothing in terms of comfort and luxury. He had earned so much wealth that for his whole life he could comfortably sit and eat. His main quality was his empathy, which made him very compassionate. Whenever someone asked him for help, he could never refuse. Even if he wanted to, out of compassion he would help others. Now, people slowly started to realize Sitaram's sensitivity and kindness, and they began to take advantage of it. People started pretending to be sad in front of Sitaram, and believing their words, Sitaram continued to help them. But deep down, he was still reassured that he was helping those in need. But one day when his friend told him how people were taking advantage of him and making fun of him in the city, hearing that Sitaram was deeply hurt. Although many people had become friends with Sitaram, it became very difficult for him to know which friends were true and which ones were just pretending to be his friends. He often used to be surrounded by a crowd of people. When he learned about the deceit of his friends and others, Sitaram decided that from now on he would stay alone. He would not maintain close friendships with anyone and would mostly spend time with himself. That's why now people would be sent back from outside the gates of his mansion. Sitaram's servant didn't allow anyone to approach him. But after spending some time alone, Sitaram began to crave the company of a gathering. He started reminiscing about his friends with whom he used to enjoy the pleasures of life while sitting together. But at that moment, he also remembered how his friends had fooled him and deceitfully taken away a significant portion of his wealth. That's why he didn't want to be in the company of such friends. But now his mind was getting frustrated by being alone, so without contacting his friends he began attending spiritual gatherings. In those gatherings, discussions on knowledge took place, teachings were imparted, and the thoughts of others were also heard. Sitaram felt really good going there, he found great joy in it. He started going to spiritual gatherings daily, listening to the teachings of knowledge. In those gatherings, Sitaram often presented profound discourses and openly expressed his knowledge. It was no secret that Sitaram had a great command over logic and reasoning. However, despite having so much knowledge, there was no trace of joy in Sitaram's mind. Even with such profound knowledge, he remained disconnected from his inner self, and that was the reason why there was no true joy in his life. The teachings in the spiritual gatherings often emphasized meditation. When it came to this topic, Sitaram would present his views and ideas eloquently, but he had not taken even the first step towards meditation. No matter how much you are aware of the qualities of an apple, you won't know its taste until you eat it. The same thing applied to Sitaram. Although he possessed extensive knowledge, he had not yet experienced the essence of meditation, solitude, and solitude's benefits. One day, a Buddhist monk arrived at the spiritual gathering. He was renowned far and wide for his wisdom, and discussions about his knowledge took place throughout the region. So today, Sitaram got an opportunity to surpass the Buddhist monk with his arguments and elevate his reputation in society. He imagined that people would consider him even more knowledgeable and hold him in high regard. Filled with this thought, the Buddhist monk arrived at the gathering. He walked calmly to his seat and sat down. Sitaram, cutting through everyone's arguments, consistently presented his reasoning above all. He thought to himself, once this Buddhist monk engages in a debate, then see how I dismantle his arguments. And the Buddhist monk didn't say anything, he simply smiled peacefully. In the end, when the gathering concluded, Sitaram couldn't resist and finally asked the Buddhist monk, I have heard a lot about your knowledge, but you didn't say anything during the entire assembly. You were completely silent. Hearing this, the Buddhist monk smiled and said, in the end, one has to forget all knowledge. I have no argument against your arguments and debates. I was simply enjoying my solitude, immersed in the bliss of my thoughts. It's not that I wasn't listening to you all, I was attentively listening to everything you said. But there was no resistance in my mind towards you. I know that in the beginning, a person gathers knowledge, but if they get trapped in the illusion of being knowledgeable, thinking they have already become enlightened, then they will remain the biggest fool of all. The greatest wisdom lies in letting go of one's knowledge, and in realizing one's ignorance. And because of this realization, your pride and your ego keep diminishing, while the wisdom you have acquired starts manifesting as your own experience. However, often people mistake the herd and learn knowledge as the ultimate truth, disregarding the real essence. This is their biggest mistake, and because of it, they never find their way towards solitude. They will always continue to preach their knowledge like others, never realizing the true essence within themselves. When Sitaram heard this, it directly struck his heart because this concept applied perfectly to him. Sitaram asked the Buddhist monk, after attaining all the knowledge, which path should a person choose? Upon hearing this, the Buddhist monk said, the true recognition of a wise person lies in reaching the state of calmness through their knowledge. When you meet a knowledgeable person, they won't boast about their knowledge. Their solitude and silence will convey the message of their wisdom to you. Just think, what's the use of having so much knowledge if you haven't learned to be with yourself and enjoy solitude? If you haven't learned to enjoy your solitude and be content in your own company, then what's the use of gathering so much knowledge? Take a moment to think. Afterward, the Buddhist monk said, I am giving you 4 principles to experience the bliss of solitude. If you incorporate these 4 principles into your daily life, you will surely taste the essence of solitude. And once you have experienced the sweetness of solitude, you won't feel the need for any form of entertainment, material possessions, or dependence on others to keep your mind happy. And that blissful joy will become a part of you. It will always accompany you because it is not dependent on anything external. The first principle is to express the curiosity within yourself as to why knowing oneself is essential. We have all heard that knowing oneself is important, and that self-awareness is crucial. If you delve into this question within your mind, naturally, you will be inclined to know yourself. But if you don't understand why knowing oneself is necessary, why would you make an effort to know yourself? Therefore, first understand that you are in the process of knowing yourself. That's why it is necessary to understand that we don't know ourselves. We react to situations without thinking, and later, we regret our reactions and realize that we should have behaved differently. You didn't want to fight, but it happened, and you ended up hitting someone. You didn't want to do it, but it happened, and then you start questioning yourself. All these questions and answers arise in your mind, creating a sense of curiosity within you as to why knowing yourself is important. The second principle is to redirect the various forms of entertainment and pleasures towards focus and attention. When you understand the first principle of why knowing yourself is essential, the second principle comes into play. Our minds often get distracted by various forms of entertainment and material pleasures, and excessive indulgence in them leads to a decline in our focus. When you spend a lot of time using your mobile phone, after a while, it becomes the source of your irritation. That's when we realize that the very entertainment that was meant to bring us joy becomes the cause of our distress. Science has taken away people's solitude through new inventions, and the biggest example of this is the mobile phone. We can't stay away from our phones even for a day. Try switching off your phone for a day and see how you feel. You will feel restless and won't know what to do with your time. Take a moment to think about how science has bound your life with its inventions. That's why it's important to redirect your mind from such forms of entertainment and conveniences towards focus and attention. The third principle is to cultivate the habit of staying free. Often, we become so engrossed in our responsibilities that we don't make time for ourselves. Time gets consumed by our obligations. Whatever time is left our mobile phone, steal it away. But when we start spending time with ourselves, we become aware of our shortcomings. And the fourth point is to learn to remain stable in solitude. We either become overly attached to things and people here, or we start getting involved in their affairs. You won't have any true friends, nor will you have any enemies. All living beings are the same for you, your perspective is equal for all. You have advanced so much that while fulfilling your responsibilities, meeting people, and indulging in entertainment, you are able to maintain stability in your inner solitude. But to reach this point, you need to turn back and know yourself. You need to spend time with yourself. One must divert their mind from pointless entertainment towards another direction, where their entertainment is through mindfulness. Then, no one can deceive you because no one is as close or as far from your mind. Everything is the same for you, so no betrayal can harm you. Upon hearing this, Sitaram touched the feet of the Buddhist monk and, practicing these teachings continuously, attained the art of immersing himself in the joy of solitude and savoring the pleasure of being alone. So, friends, how did you like the story? Do let me know in the comments section, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Until the next story, stay blissful.